Stud.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It was the first pick of the fourth round, so really the end of the third.
I haven't broken it down yet, but he must be leading in fantasy points.
He's up there. I mean, he's a monster. I mean, Mahomes. The reason I like Mahomes, he scored 30 points and he played awful last week. Didn't get 300 yards, threw 2 interceptions, was a little bit erratic.
But you got points.
And I got 30 points.
Right.
I mean, so on a normal week from Mahomes, you're going to get 40. Stephon Diggs did not have a big week for me. Cup had a great week. Mike Davis and David Montgomery do not get the ball ever.
Right.
That's my starting running backs.
It's ridiculous. They're not handing the rock. Miles Sanders, I think, carried the ball twice.
It's so silly.
I think they ran the ball 3 times the whole freaking game.
David Montgomery is the only thing worth watching on that Bear team. If you watch Fields play,
which is just atrocious.
6'20".
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things when you watch some rookie quarterbacks, and the Bears have done this great. Mitch Trubisky. Just go in. You get a quarterback, right? He's a rook. Or even a young quarterback, a couple of years, 2-3 years in the league, they find a lot of these guys can sit there and throw to the right and throw short over the middle. And when they throw left, they have no idea how to do it. They cannot throw and turn their body.
Right.
It's hysterical how they got to this level. Because, again, I mean, listen, these are the top 32 players in the world at this position. So I'm not trying to be a jerk. But Trubisky could never throw the ball left.
Right.
Fields can't throw the ball left. I mean, they're just inaccurate every time they have to throw the ball to the left side of the field. I don't understand it. You can only roll to one side and dunk it? I mean, the defense is going to pick up on it. No.
Right.
It's
no.
6 for 20 for 48 yards.
What was it, a net of 1 yard?
It was a net of 1, right? And they hand the ball off to Montgomery 10 times. The thing is I understand you were out of it in the second half, but you were in the game most of the way.
Right.
They kind of gave it up late.
But that's been
they should be controlling the damn clock. Screens, draws, and that's it.
Kamara, carried the ball a lot. Henry carried the ball a lot.
And he should.
But there was only like 3 or 4 guys that carried the ball more than 20 times. 20 times. Everything else is 15. And then some of these guys, again, Philadelphia, you got this kid who doesn't know what he's doing. You have to hand the rock off to Sanders once in a blue moon. I understand that probably hurts as your best runner, just like with the Ravens, how Jackson's probably your best runner.
Exactly, but if Dobbins was there, I doubt he'd be getting the ball 8 times.
Right.
And the thing is that you look and you watch, a lot of different teams, but one of them that stood out to me last week, I'm blanking on it for a second. Detroit, right? They split the carries between the 2 backs pretty evenly. It's kind of annoying.
Right.
I know you'll talk about DeAndre Swift later on a different reason.
Yeah.
But you see the Jets. They given it with Johnson, but mostly it's the rook.
And still no Denzel Mims. Your team sucks. What?
What did he do? Did he sleep with the coach's wife? I mean, he's 6'3". Your receivers are not getting separation. You got a guy that was on for 3 plays in week 1, made a 40-yard play.
They're running the same routes. You got three receivers go within 5 yards of each other, running the same routes.
It just doesn't make sense. And what you saw in Arizona was interesting this week because Connor got the touchdowns.
Right.
It was not the aforementioned superstar that everybody drafted. I don't know why I'm thinking of his name. Not Redmond. What the hell is his name?
It's Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds. I'm sorry. I had Chase Redmond in my head.
Yeah.
Chase Edmonds.
Yeah. No relations to Jim Edmonds.
No. Different color.
Different. No, you make it sound like that's unusual nowadays.
No, it's really not. Actually.
It's not.
It's just for 2 grown men.
Okay.
But nonetheless, who cares? I mean, but the whole thing is that, but that Chase was not getting the ball close to the goal line. He was somebody that people were drafting relatively high. But you brought up the Philly thing, which really stands out to you. And then you looked at Pittsburgh. Najee Harris can't get like 2 yards of carry, but he caught 14 balls this week. In the PPR league, he was a monster. Mm-hmm. So you're starting to see guys start to separate as who's going to be getting the rock a little bit more often than not. Gaskin's a guy that's getting the ball a decent amount. I don't think it's just because of Brissett, because I don't think Tua's going to be any better with him.
Right.
I mean, Harris got a little banged up in New England. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of the running games are really, really strange.
Yeah,
right now
it's tough to pick. I mean, again, we've discussed this several times. It's a throwing league. You understand that, but holy crow, you have to differentiate your game a little bit. Hand it off, please.
Your boy Robinson, you finally didn't play.
I didn't play him, and he had a decent week.
It wasn't great.
Great.
Edwards-Helaire had a good week.
Dude, you know what? He had a much better week than Tyson Williams, who I started over him.
No, and the 49er thing is it's just challenging to figure out their running game.
Yeah.
So running backs are the key, and you're going to be sitting there just picking up guys left and right, east, west, north, south, trying to find guys that are not heavily rostered. That's kind of what you're trying to do.
And one of the things you have to look out for, and I got to say, I did it this week. Try not to chase numbers. Like this week I picked up, Dawson Knox because I picked up Jarwin, like you told me, like you said. I was like, you know what, I went back and forth between Schultz and Jarwin. Yep. I was like, you know what, I took Jarwin. Schultz scores two freaking touchdowns.
I know, it's the wrong guy, and you said it could be Schultz.
Right. I mean, and then let me see. I picked up Emmanuel Sanders.
Had a great game.
But is he going to have a great game this week? I feel like I'm always going for the next best star or the next best thing that we have on waivers. Because a lot of the times, like when I'm listening to other fantasy shows that are probably a lot better than ours, they talk about certain things and chasing the points and stuff like that. And I'm doing exactly what they tell me not to.
And here's the thing. You look at guys, like just running backs, right?
But, you know what? I kind of lost my thought. I apologize. I'm going to butt in. They talk about these guys. Screw you. They talk about guys who are available and stuff like that. What league are these guys in that some of these players are available?
We're in a 12-team league, right? And I don't think that's abnormal.
No.
Okay? There might be some 10s out there. There might be 14s, which you get it. I mean, like the best running backs available in all league, Giovanni Bernard's on 18%. He's rostered 18%. Philip Lindsay rostered 29%, which makes sense.
Right.
But, he could be a guy. Most of these other guys aren't rostered more than 7 or 8%. Yeah. I mean, like Malcolm Brown, stuff like that. Demetric Felton looked good in Cleveland. But, unless Hunt or Chubb get hurt, he's the third option. How deep are you going to go? Damian Williams in Chicago. Yeah. He's the third option.
And you're talking about the third options. The 1 and 2 options aren't even carrying the ball.
Tevin Coleman. I mean, you're really going to jump on him, hoping he gets back out there. Justin Jackson not being used in with the Chargers. I mean, you look at some of these things, and Devontae Booker, Saquon's back.
Right.
It's weird, but you go through our league, right? Mm-hmm. And you look at certain teams. There are teams that have 6 or 7 running backs because they're just trying to find the 2 that work.
Right.
And eventually, with bye weeks, they're going to have to release somebody, and there'll be somebody good out there. But in our 12-team league, there really isn't much. I mean, I sit in second at 2-1, which sounds weird. I'm just because of point tiebreaker.
Right.
I mean, I'm tied with 38 other teams.
I'm 2-1, and I'm in 7th place.
Everybody went crazy for Cordero Patterson last week. Didn't do much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, Darrell Henderson in L.A. is hurt. So Sony Michel was picked up, and he played well.
But people talk about that. Sony Michel was picked up after week 1.
He was right away.
As soon as people realized that Sony Michel was no longer with New England and he was with another team, and then you only got Darrell Henderson ahead of him, people grabbed him right away.
Well, because it was a bona fide number 2, and Darrell Henderson doesn't make you sit there and say, wow, he's going to be a star.
But that's what I'm saying.
Because Malcolm Brown got a ton of carries with him last year.
Right.
So there was already that divide.
But that's what I'm saying. In like our league, those guys are gone already. So you can't even think about, who the next big guy. Whoever the next big guy is this week is probably on somebody's roster already.
I mean, here's the thing. Right now, you have to be looking ahead for your buys. And I know it seems early, but it's really a week away, actually. Yeah. It's really not that far. But even if you have buys in week 12, buys in week 10, you have to have that backup with that matchup, okay? So if you had Mahomes in week 13, you need to have that quarterback that's going to be able to get you through 1 week.
Right.
You're never going to use him again, because if you do, you're going to lose.
End
of
story.
Same thing with wide receiver. Okay, everybody has that dominant wide receiver. Everybody tries to get the dominant running back. That's hit or miss.
Right.
But usually when you get the wide receiver, we haven't seen the huge injuries to wide receiver yet. But whether your number 1 is Stephon Diggs, whether it's Cooper Kupp, like I mentioned before, Devontae Adams,
right?
Julio Jones, even in a latter like 1A type of position, or you need to find that guy that you could sit there and put out in that roster that week. That's what's going to differentiate. And we get into bye weeks, we're going to make recommendations. We're going to try to figure that out for you as we go. But, if you're sitting there trying to, guess your way through this and chase the points every week, you're going to be crazy. The only position where chasing the points work, well, there's only time it works, I should say, is a quarterback that's suddenly playing well and you just feel like you got him.
Right.
And you grab a quarterback that nobody really wanted, and, like Zach Wilson. Everybody's going to jump on him after that performance last week.
Of course.
But you know what? Mac Jones, everybody, because Belichick's always a genius. Yeah,
right.
all right, whatever. He didn't look good against the Jets either. He just completed a bunch of 2-yard passes.
I just picked up Darnold this week.
Yeah, well, Darnold looks pretty good right now.
Right. And he's been consistent for 3 weeks.
It's funny. Everybody's going to pick up Bridgewater as well.
Yeah.
Not realizing that Bridgewater has played 3 teams that are combined 0-9. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that Teddy hasn't played well, and I'm not saying there's not a lot of talent there. He's beaten the Jets, the Jags, the Giants. That's everything you need to know.
So now KJ Hamler's out. You picked Tim Patrick.
He's playing well every week.
And he's like one of those guys that, now he's, I picked him up actually this week.
You're not thinking about him as a household guy, but he's a guy on that roster, You like the guys like Tim Patrick because, know, he's going to play every week. He's going to be, he knows the whole route tree. Mm-hmm. He's going to be able to play outside, all that type of stuff.
One of the things like you just said, I've got Devontae Adams. I got Tyler Lockett as my starting wide receivers. They're playing every week unless they're hurt.
Exactly.
Every week and a bye. Then I'm kind of flipping between my flex. I got T. Higgins, who, by the way, is out again for week 4 on Thursday night, which I'm not happy
you know what?
about.
The thing, only because they're playing Thursday. If you were playing Sunday, you might have a shot.
Right.
But T and the Cincinnati team is, they should roll against Jacksonville, you would think, but who knows?
But, I've got 3 solid guys that are probably going to start every week unless they're hurt and a bye. So you got to kind of fill in the gap with somebody. Tim Patrick is a fill in the gap type of guy, I think.
He is. He's one of those guys that you grab. Hunter Renfrow, a guy you grab. A guy that you could sit there and put out there, and he may not get you a touchdown, but, I love slot receivers when I'm trying to reach for somebody.
Right, because
it's
they're going to get points.
It's going to be 5 catches for 49 yards, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there at 9.9. If they happen to get a little above and they go 6 for 70, I have 13. If they get in the end zone, even better. Mm-hmm. Might even use them on an occasional little jet sweep type thing. There's always an opportunity with that, so you like to jump on that.
So anyway, we were kind of talking about trades and stuff like that this week. Listen, I'm very low in points. It's great. I'm grateful that I'm 2-1. I got lucky to be 2-1, but I got my ass spanked last week. But it was
you did,
yeah. So I tried to sniff around, just try to mix things up a little bit. So I went to my son and I offered Cortland Sutton and Myles Gaskin for Saquon. Do you think that's a fair offer?
I actually do. Because Sutton is going to be the clear-cut number 1 in Denver.
Right.
And Gaskin's one of those running backs that gets the full load.
Right. He turns around and he offers me Saquon and Waddell, who nobody's throwing. Nobody knows if anybody's throwing to him, for Lockett and Gaskin. So you're telling me you want me to give up one of the top 5 okay, that's probably too much. Top 10 receivers for a guy with a bum leg and a guy who has nobody throwing to him? So needless to say, we couldn't work anything out. But I did turn my attention to yet another deal. And it turns out it was Dave Winfield. And I think he is related to the Dave Winfield,
the 3-sport star. Yeah. One of the 3 people of all time drafted both by the NBA, MLB, and the NBA, MLB, and the NFL.
And he was an all-star salesperson when he was...
Listen, Caucasian, about 6'4", our guy.
So I turn around, I offer Sutton for Swift.
Which doesn't seem that bad. I know that running backs are more of a premium, but Swift is not exactly carrying the load.
That's just it. And, it's a negotiation.
And I like DeAndre Swift. If you heard this in the first show, both of you, we really like Swift. I like Swift anyway.
So he turns around. He offers Swift and Brandon Cooks for Devontae Adams and Jonathan Taylor.
Why in the world would you do that? Why in the world would anybody do that?
It's just stupidity. And then there was another offer. I think I made an offer for Chase. And I was going to give up Devontae. Chase and Swift for Devontae and Gaskin. And that's more. I think that's a lot more than what I'm getting.
It's ridiculous.
He declined it. Then he turned around. Devontae Adams for Swift, straight up.
Why would you do it?
Listen, people who are starving in Afghanistan are not making that deal. Really, because
most likely no.
Because they don't have internet. And that's not going to help. And I don't know why I brought that up.
Thank God you did, though, because that was really relevant.
Very, very important. I just don't understand why people. You can't make a trade, and everybody's always talking about this guy's getting traded for so and so, and these are trades that are being made in leagues around the country and around the world, and in Afghanistan and stuff. And
yes, a lot of big trades in Afghanistan. You're right.
It doesn't make sense that